Hello, fam. This is Wednesday, so it must be Wine Lovers Wednesday. This is actually our second Wine Lovers Wednesday today. If you saw earlier on Instagram, we went live with Chef Derek, and he was cooking up these really good grilled chicken wings for Super Bowl. We were talking about Super Bowl meals, and so he grilled uh, these chicken wings that looked amazing and paired them with a couple of wines and sauteed some mushrooms and spinach. So that was great. We kind of got past our technical difficulties, but we're excited to be here this afternoon with our guest, Marcus Johnson. He is working on his sound, and we're going to bring him to the stage shortly. But I just wanted to hear from you guys out there. How's your February going? This is the month where you may not have continued with your New Year's resolutions. And if you have continued with them, share with me. Let me know what you've decided to do. We also have let me just back up on the whole New Year's resolution. So my New Year's resolution was to get healthy, which seems to be a resolution every year. But this year, I'm really committed to that resolution. So I decided, since I am the CEO of my company, that I was going to work out during the middle of the day because I'm the boss. And so I make the schedule. So I started doing aqua Zumba. Oh, Marcus, I'm getting a little feedback.
You are?
Yeah. I can still hear myself. Now I can't. Say something. But now I can't hear you.
I'm just gonna go this way. It'll be better.
That's very good. I can hear you very well. So I'll fast forward my story. So I'm starting to do aqua Zumba, and it's at 10 o'clock in the morning on Mondays and Wednesdays. And I thought I would be in there with the seniors, like, hey, baby, how you doing? But no, there are like a number of people my age there doing Zumba in the middle of the day, which makes me think about this whole, like, people leaving work or what have you. People are really doing that and taking more time for themselves and really embracing life instead of, working to live.
Imagine that.
Yes. And you are a great example where you have been able to intertwine work and play together and make it look so easy.
Well, I'm glad it looks easy. You see, I didn't get a chance to shave today. And actually, I didn't get a chance to work out today. I work out about 4 to 6 times a week. And I'm one who believes that it all starts with making your bed in the morning. The one thing I do every morning, no matter where I am, is I make sure I make up my bed. And I make sure that the kids do it as well. Because it's a feeling for me that if you actually can take 30 seconds, then you can take 30 minutes, then you can take 3 hours, then you can take a day, then you can take a month.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can't even take the 30 seconds, and really that's all it takes to make your bed, then, you might want to take a step back and just reconsider your priorities. And it's also the idea that you are in control of your life and not anyone else. And so many of us are, we think that we're only beholden to our bosses or our superiors at our office spots or consumers even. And at the end of the day, man, this is a borrowed journey, and we are on rented time. And the best thing that you can do is make the best of it. And if you're not taking care of yourself, then you're not really doing it, for the love of flow. And that's really what the whole thing is all about.
Yeah. That is very true. So, Marcus, please introduce yourself.
I am Marcus Johnson. I'm the founder of Flo Wine and president. And Flo is a company that means for the love of, as we kind of I tried to segue into right there. I was doing, I'm being nominated for an award for the congressional, the CFC, Combined Federal Campaign, where nonprofits can, make money or generate revenue from federal employees. And I've been working with them now for about 20 years. And they asked me, like, who are you and when did you decide that you were going to be in philanthropy or helping out? And I was like, I was born that way. My mom always used
Mm-hmm.
to be very scared at the fact. She's like, son, you are a social worker and you always love helping everyone else. When are you going to take care of yourself? And I'm like, mom, taking care of other people actually is taking care of yourself. And got to a point where I could use Flow to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, the other things I do, I'm a uh, 5-time top 10 Billboard, jazz charting artist with 25 CDs and multiple projects out. I tour around the world. I'm a lawyer, an MBA. I'm a professor, an author, and an entrepreneur. And most of all, my greatest claim to fame is this young lady in the conference room next to me, the 9-year-old who's working on her sevens multiplication facts. I am her father. So in between of making all this stuff grow or farming, the business and harvesting there, and in a figurative and literal sense, I'm doing the same with my daughter. So that's really, that's why I do it all.
Oh, that is great. So you do have a very impressive and remarkable resume, and wine is just one aspect of it. But why wine? Like, you got into wine before it was popular for many personalities and celebrities to start a brand. What drew you to wine?
Well, number one, I like wine. And having, I really didn't start drinking at all until I was in law school, and I did a joint degree program. So I was in my third year, which was my second year of my MBA, and they started doing wine tastings. And I barely, had a cooler back in the day. And how I made it through Howard and the University of Miami without really drinking is another story. But um, I started, having wine and appreciating the taste and
Mm-hmm.
understanding the pairing, and kind of fell in love with early Clos du Bois and the cab that they had. And then we're talking 20 something years ago. And I didn't really know anything much about the varietals, et cetera. And then over time, through the tastings and being involved with people and seeing them at my concerts,
Mm-hmm.
I started to understand even more of the business component of it and more of the appreciation of different varietals. I went from being a cab guy, believe it or not, to being a Riesling guy after being a cab guy, and then came
Really?
back over. Yeah, absolutely. I think, I sometimes I have to watch my mouth because I can curse, but I think it's BS that people, the way that they talk about um, sweeter varietals, they are just sweeter varietals. It's not a quality issue. And I think, especially in our community, since we're celebrating Black History Month, I think we need to celebrate our full palate. I like chocolate chip cookies and seafood and steak and Beyond Burgers. So, if I can like all of that, then at the same time, I can love a cab and I can, appreciate, a Riesling. I can appreciate a Moscato. May not be my go-to first choice, but I can appreciate it. So that was actually my transition was from cab, and Chardonnay
Mm-hmm.
into Riesling, and then back through to Sangiovese, the other big reds that I like, and Chards. I love Chards. I love a good Chard. I love a good Sauvignon
Mm-hmm.
Blanc, a nice Chenin Blanc, etc. So I realized probably in 2004, 2005 that I wasn't really in the music industry, even as a jazz musician, nor was I in the entertainment industry. And I see that look on your face. You're like,
Like, okay, so what does that mean if you are playing and it is headlining Marcus Johnson, but you're not in the industry? What does that mean?
Yeah, I'm not in that. I mean, I think they have it misplaced. I mean, the type of music that I play and what I do, and I think in general, most musicians have been misplaced in the entertainment that we have to get up and shake our thing and have lights and everything else like that. But when you think
Hmm.
about people like myself, when you think about people like the Joe Samples of the world in jazz, when you think about the Robert
Right.
Glaspers, when you think about the Adeles and even the Beyoncés, they don't talk about the fact that her stuff is entertaining. They talk about the fact that it is therapeutic and that it is
Hmm.
cathartic. And I realized
Okay.
before most that we are in the therapy industry. And
Hmm.
when you can make the paradigm shift from being in music and entertainment and having to be all up like this and jumping on stage with your sax and, bending over like some of them do, and you're in therapy, you come to me for a totally different experience.
Right.
And I can build something in a company that has a different look than everything else out there. And so while we get it in and we have fun, actually putting on a performance and playing our instruments, I
Hmm.
always break down in the middle of my show and talk 10 minutes to the crowd, no matter how big or small, about life and about flow and finding your flow. And how most of us, like if you see anything from me, take it from a Georgetown JD MBA fellow, teacher, professor who's spoken everywhere, TED Talks or whatever, that I'm up here on stage because it's what I love to do. It is my catharsis.
Okay.
And, being able to feel better with it, then we can start saying, wow, what goes well with music? And when my
Yeah.
target demographic is women, what is therapeutic and goes well with music for my sisters? Boom.
There you go.
Pretty simple. Oh, and now we have these, our flow candles. So I
I
mean,
saw
you put it
that.
all together. It's therapy. It's all the therapeutic experience.
I saw that. It's interesting because, like you said, women are your target demographic. And I would say 60% of my customers are women, but 40% are men. I think there's a growing population of men who enjoy wine and they enjoy the convenience of buying wine online, which when I started this business, I would have never thought it was that large percentage.
Hmm. I mean, and it's some of the heavier liquors, it's like why, or spirits, why do you drink them? It's the way it hits your palate. And I
Hmm.
think that winemakers have come up with different varietals that are able to hit your palate in a way that's strong enough for someone who might like a stronger spirit.
Right.
Yet it takes you on a dynamic journey through your palate until you swallow. So um, yeah, and I mean, here's the funny thing for me: jazz in general is 60% women, 40% men. My numbers
Okay.
are 60% men, 40% women. And so
Interesting.
yes, and we've had to do some really deep diving into, why is that? And then what we can make sure that we're creating for the guys that are out there that allows them to have the same type of experiences and meet their pain point where they are so that they can
Hmm.
flow as well.
Okay. Interesting. So, like I mentioned earlier, before there was a Wade Sellers, before there was Charles Woodson, before I could go on and on. There was Flo Wines, and you were doing this beforehand, and so um, just looking at Instagram, starting February 1, there were people were publishing lists of Black wine labels and supporting them and spirits and what have you, and like it, I stopped counting, but I know there's over 50 out there.
Mhm.
And so what do you think about that? What do you think about how people are really starting to look at wine as an economic engine as well as enjoying wine?
I think it's great. I mean, I think, and we're still far underrepresented. If you look at the fact that there are probably about 3,100 wine brands that are in the United States alone, and that we have 50 to 70 of them, we are far underrepresented. I mean, that essentially gets us to what, 2%,
Mhm,
of the
mhm,
total. And even if we look at it as a representation of African Americans and African American participation in wine and spirit buying, we have a significant way to go. But also, I think it's great because what it does is it gives us a different kind of sandbox within which we can play. And I think that for the longest time, people did not want to let us in because they didn't want anybody messing with their sandbox. What we're finding is that there are two sandboxes or more. Hey, there may be a little mixed sandbox in
mhm.
here. There may be hey, this is how Black folk enjoy, wine, and their wine experiences. Then you can segment it on the socioeconomic kind of place, and then geographic. So you have all these different kind of ways in which you can engage different consumer groups. And I think some of the majority owned companies, which are primarily most of them, have said, oh my God, if there's a growth opportunity, it is in bringing new people into the store, not trying to get, the traditional wine buyer to buy more. And let me not try to
Mhm.
trick them with all these other things. Let's start presenting this and offering them things that kind of are in the packaging and or the vibe of what, they like. And that is
Right.
important. Experiences are important. Labels are important. I mean, we have ours, and then we have the QR code on the back, which takes you to our Flow Wine experiences, where we have the lo-fi channel, we have our music experiences. You can order a candle online. You can even order wine if you got it at the shop. So you don't have to go out next time. It can come directly, join our club, those kind of
Okay.
things. These are the unique ways in which we know how to promote our stuff. And whether or say, rather than it being, hey, you better come to the right shop, I've always had to bring whatever I do to the people, my music to the people, my
Mhm.
vibe to the people, my speaking to the people. So let's bring the product and meet the people where they are instead of demanding that they come out this way. And I think that that is a uniquely African American perspective. It shouldn't be. And if, in my marketing classes, I would teach, whether I'm at a Cornell or a Howard, I'm going to teach, look, you should be, consumer focused, but I think it's something that is very uniquely African American to start off as a startup, bringing your product directly to the people.
I completely agree, and I think it's important because to this day I will pour wine, and I'll give the background of and then they'll say, oh, I didn't know that was a woman winemaker, or I didn't know this label was bought by made by a Black winemaker or a Latino winemaker. So I think it's interesting that you bring that to people and you share that education with them, or they don't know. They just think that we're not present, even though we're a small percentage, right? But
Hmm.
I think it's a start.
I
I
mean,
definitely
absolutely, and
think
I think
it's
it's
a start.
something that we
Mhm.
have to be continually committed to. And those of us that'll be successful, we're not going to make it just putting a name behind somebody and having a larger company, a Diageo or a Constellation, push it, because some of those, the regular traditional winemaker, I mean, wine consumer kind of has made their choices already. You may be able to fight for some millennials, yeah, but if you bring it to the people, if you have a
Mhm.
way to create experiences, because, we know that the way you feel at a party can affect how your palate tastes a particular wine, or
Right.
spirit. So let's
Right.
create these great, like we do our Sips and Sounds events. And the
Mhm.
last, thing on that is, I tell all business people, I think I've even told you this, tell your story. Your story can sell your stuff. People buy things they may not even necessarily like because they want to support the story that they believe in.
Right. Right. I agree. I agree.
Yeah, it's very important.
Tell me about your Sips and Sounds.
It's a brand that we own. We go around the country, and as a jazz musician, I have this unique capability of being able to throw my celebrity into a venue while I'm touring, and then turn a regular concert into a Sips and Sounds where we have wine and we have the music and then we have the merchandise around it. In particular, we just left 1010 Wines in Inglewood, California. And to Leanne and Leslie, excuse me, I have to give a special shout out because what they've created there is that it's such a classy space. You walk in there and you feel, I mean, it's LA, you feel sexy,
Uh-huh.
and you put Flo in there and you put some jazz in there. And people were leaving like, I need more of this. Like, this is what I want to do on a Wednesday night. Because again, it's therapy. It's not just entertainment. It is how do I unwind? How do I deal with the fact that I'm just getting back into the workplace? I'm a little I'm a little like I'm suffering from some PTSD because I'm
Right.
fatigued over, being away for 2 years, yet not really getting any good rest. So I'm getting up and going through the motions and getting my work done. But like, I need like, back in the day it was Calgon take me away. I need some Calgon to like take me away, right?
Hmm. Right.
So
I
I
mean,
mean,
I don't remember that.
I remember it. I'm
I
that
know, I'm
old,
just
right?
joking.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like, you say like, okay, and that's what Sips and Sounds is. It's unique ways to put like things with flow. I mean, we already have a great brand and trademark in owning Flow and For the Love of.
Hmm.
Um, and then to take that and come up with Sips and Sounds, and now we're doing the Love and Jazz weekends and things like that with Salamander Resorts and other. We have other companies that are looking to partner with us on things like that now, and it really is people just, especially our age, anywhere from say 30 through on up. They were in their homes for 2 years. They will never get those 2 years back in their minds,
Right.
and it's had an effect on us. How do we create scenarios to make them feel good about whatever, man? The day, just relax, take your mind off of this. Don't think about anything. Bring your friends in. Don't bring your friends in. People come to our events solo. Our New Year's Eve event, we had against the wall in Baltimore in this restaurant a bunch of single guys, that were just literally on their own tables because of socially distanced rules. We had to
Really?
space them out, but they got single tickets to come and
Hmm.
just enjoy a little wine, a little MJ, and bring in New Year's, with a little bit of class. And you knew you were going to get a word from me talking about what we need to do going into 2022, getting your flow on. What is your flow? How do you live? So that's what Sips and Sounds is all about. It's just basically a catchy name, that allows
Uh-huh.
us to, and it's very literal, right? Sips, wine, sounds, music. It's a catchy way to create an event or around which we can create, these therapeutic experiences for people.
So were you, I'm not going to say that the pandemic is over. I would love it to be over. But during the height of the pandemic, I'm assuming you weren't able to get out, and now you're able to get out more. Are people more receptive to it and they're going out to events?
Absolutely. Oh my God. I mean, so we put the tickets for 1010 on sale the Thursday before. So let's say it like this. Last Thursday, we put our tickets on sale, a week from Thursday. We were sold out by Sunday, the 30th, right? So that's the 28th. We put them on sale. We were sold out by the 30th, and the second was the event. And
Wow.
we had two shows, and they were both packed. And so I think that, and it's a numbers game because we do run
Hmm.
ads. They understand Facebook advertising and social media advertising. And you do have to say, like, okay, we need to reach this many people now instead of this many. Before it may
Hmm.
have been, I need to reach 300 to get 30 clicks,
Right,
right?
right.
Now it may be,
Hmm.
I have to get 600 people in impressions in order to get 30 clicks. But you spend the
Okay.
extra money to then just work it into your margin. So I think they're very receptive. Spaghettini was sold out 2 nights before. Our Valentine's Day, our 7 o'clock show is already sold out. That's 200 people at Keystone Corner, and we're close to selling out the 9 o'clock show. We have the East Coast Jazz Festival coming up. It's looking like it's our particular performance is going to be sold out, and we continue to do well with that. So, yeah.
That's excellent. So let's talk about your newest project, the Food and Wine project. How are you making that selection? Tell people about it.
Say again.
How are you making the selection? And I mean, food and wine are a no-brainer, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
This is not a novel idea, but the thought that's going into what you're doing seems pretty unique and specific.
Absolutely. I mean, with the Sips and Sounds, our goal is to make sure that we're featuring African American chefs from around whatever local market in which we go. So if it's DC, we're going to feature DC chefs. If it is, or caterers. If it's Atlanta, it's the same thing. We're about to go into Oakland with Leilani, Chef Leilani at Ruin Vine. So that's popping off as well. And again, yet another opportunity to live up to our word of investing in our community and the excellence within it. Understanding that in order to do so, as a lawyer, you can't bring a case if you don't have standing. If you don't have an injury that has, basically, been that you've been subject to, then you cannot bring a case. Standing in our business is making sure that we're asking people for our support, but that we're also giving support. And for us to go in and look at Infused and say, like, what do you think? Like, I'm not necessarily saying this is what I think. This is what Chef Val thinks as it relates to what should go into this. I'm bringing my music. I'm bringing the people. I'm bringing the wine. How do you curate that? Right. And then we're coming up with these great plates and, these great new ways of getting things plated. And I have to give a shout out to Latoya Lewis, who I work with on our event side of things, who basically then we just show up. Latoya, what do you think? We have our regularly scheduled meetings. We go for budgets. I go knock on doors, to see if we can get additional sponsors. But then I'm like, that's what you do. And she is an event architect and a specialist. Then we come back, Marcus, I think this is the way it needs to be plated. We're going to do it this way. They'll be full by the time they leave. I think we should try this in this city, et cetera, et cetera. And then it's up to us and the marketing team to let people know. So again, it's all about the experience of this, then the experience of this. And, I just want people, when they leave a Sips and Sounds, to say, I need that in my life again, and I need it soon, and I can't wait to tell somebody, and wasn't that great, and didn't I have fun? And, I'm better for having been here this evening. And food is a very big part of that for the Sips and Sounds experience.
So are they at restaurants? Are they pop-up events? How does that work?
It can be any of them. Hold on. Can you bring my power cord? The white power cord. Can you bring it for me? Thank you, baby. It can be anything. If you know somebody, honestly, there are people who come up to us and like, look, I'm not an official chef, but I can plate for 150 people. If you're doing a small venue, I can make it happen. We can get into a community kitchen, and I can make everything, get it to you there, or get everything together. If it's a place like we've been working closely with Prince George's County Park and Planning, and we did our last event at Oxon Hill Manor, the mansion by National Harbor. You have a kitchen there, you bring the ingredients there. They plated everything there. So we took over the kitchen earlier in the day. They brought all the ingredients in and did it there. So at that level, as long as it's somebody who's, food safe certified, et cetera, we're pretty good. Safe serve, I think it is.
That's good. You know what you should do? Just a suggestion. Prince George's County Community College has that culinary program. I don't know if you've been by there, the beautiful building or what have you, partnering with them and and putting together some type of thing with their students there probably would be a great look. And you're bringing people,
Absolutely.
yeah, you're bringing the younger generation in. I just read an article about how millennials are not drinking wine.
Yeah.
Like they're competing. The wine industry is competing with, excuse me, the seltzers, the White
Yeah.
Claws of the world.
I mean, absolutely. And so again, are you meeting the people where they are or not? I mean, think about
Right.
it. Spirits took off when you had mixed drinks and cocktails.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to have like back in the day to have some tequila alone and you weren't shooting it, you know, it was like, oh my God, or even scotch or whiskey. I mean, but then when you have a rum and coke, then, you know, oh wow. And I think, you know, even in some of the conversations that I've been having with, I think it's we're looking at doing something at the dark room in Baltimore for CIAA, which is one of the tournaments that we're doing a
Yes.
brunch. You
Mm-hmm.
know, my thing was, hey, look, can you get your bartender to come up with a wine cocktail for us, or wine cocktails based on our drinks, so that we can extend the experience? And I'm just one, you know, because, and maybe this is because I am not a wine farmer. You know, I am not a someone who is a viticulturalist. I
Mm-hmm.
am on the business side of it. I really am looking at it as, what does the consumer want? And if millennials like things that are light and bubbly, then the wine industry might want to figure out ways to keep the integrity of their product, yet adjust it in a way that allows people to get in, to introduce to their product, and then maybe you can take them on the path to, maybe you don't want a lemonade spritzer with dab a shard with your, you know, $50 steak, but maybe you'll try a cab, or maybe you'll try, you
Right.
know, a pinot noir. And I think the other thing that a lot of the companies haven't done as it relates to millennials, it's that engagement. It's just talking to them. I'm going to bring this to you. I'm going to bring the experience to you. Not, well, we're this, and this is how our wine store works. And, you know, if you like
Mm-hmm.
that crap, and, you know, whatever it is, it's that, instead
Right.
of saying, like,
Right.
okay, so let me get you that. You know what I mean? And if you
Mm-hmm.
think about what's
Mm-hmm.
going on, even with algorithms and Facebook and things like that, that's what it's doing. Oh, so you want that? Okay, I'm gonna give you that. Let me show you this. Now, I may be able to introduce you to this a little bit later, but for now, if that's where you're rolling, that's how you have to do it. And
Right.
I think that's been the
Right.
biggest problem with the wine industry.
Yeah. So what do you see on the horizon for the wine industry? Because the consumer base is
I don't know.
aging, and if they're not going meeting people where they are, what do you see?
Well, the industry as a whole, I don't necessarily care too much about. I mean, I can tell you, as it relates to Flow, what we're doing is we're going to continue to make bigger and better events. And when I say bigger and better, more impactful, and more targeted events for our consumers. And that includes millennials. And, you know, if that means also sharing the stage with other spirits, I don't mind doing that, because if that's what gets people in the room for us to then say, hey, look, here's another thing that you might want to try, I think that's what we have to do. And I think our problem in the African American wine industry for so long has been, how do we be like this? How do we be like that over there? But you're not that over there. I think you have to be true to
Mm-hmm.
who you are. And if there's anything that I listen to millennials and Gen Xers, they appreciate authenticity, and they can smell BS like a shark smells blood miles and miles away.
Mm-hmm.
So when you come to them and you're authentic, they're more willing to say, I'm going to pick up a bottle of this. I don't drink it. And we get this all the time. I don't drink wine, but I'm going to support you and send it to my friend who I know loves your red.
Yes.
That
Mm-hmm.
is building a relationship. And, you know, if you are out there and you're building relationships, the brand follows. I think too much of other folk are all about building the brand first. No, establish the relationship. they will take your brand and turn it into a movement.
Right, right. I definitely agree. So where can people find Flo?
Right now, we're rolling out nationwide at Total Wine and More. We're real excited about that. I've just been visiting stores in California and in the DC metro area, and it's us along with Phil and Longevity, along with the McBride sisters and Black Girl Magic. We're on an end cap, a national end cap at Total Wine and More. So when you go into the wine section, you look for it, and it has all of the African American brands for Black History Month. And hopefully, we'll be able to get some level of, hopefully, we'll convince them to keep that kind of going. I think that, people want to know, and they want to know we're in the store. And we had some really good placement. Even our Rosé was eye level. The red blend was definitely, no, Chardonnay was eye level, and the red blend was one, row below in the main aisle. But on the end
Okay.
cap, it's all right there for you. So there, and we're rolling out. We have a new distribution deal, which is incredible, and we're excited about that. Working with RNDC, Republic National, and
Yes.
they have a new program, which is their Legacy in a Bottle. So there's a video floating around with me and the Charles Woodson, I think Dwayne Wade, the sisters that started Uncle Nearest. And so they're helping to get us into other stores. So like your 1010s definitely in DC and surrounding areas, the local Vinos of the world in downtown Silver Spring, Era and downtown Silver Spring,
Mm-hmm.
downtown right
Mount
outside of
Rainier.
DC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we are reaching out to all of them. And the great thing now with our distribution setup, no matter where you are, we can get into one of your stores. It was very much banging on the door, hoping to get a distributor to listen to us before. And, unfortunately, things had to happen where people opened their eyes to what was going on during BLM. But my product is great, so I don't apologize for it. We're going to go in, and if you're not going to let us through the front door, we're going to come through the side. So that's how we do it at HU, and that is it's a real way that it's how to do it. So
Well, let me tell
yeah.
you. Okay, one thing. Michelle Fuller says HU is in the building, and the other thing I'm trying to figure out. I don't know how I pinned Michelle to the comments up there, but the other thing that I would say to you as a winemaker who's working with these larger distribution places, I think that's great that you've established those relationships, but their salespeople don't know about it.
And so here's the thing, though. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
we've done many meetings with everybody, the entire national sales team, all the way down to the regionals. And that has been the difference. And that was what was going on when we were with another distributor. It was like,
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah, you're sanctioned by our national office, but we don't know who you are. Now what's happening is with the commitment from corporate of RNDC, we're getting put in people's bags with incentives. So they may not know us, but if you want to make an extra little bit of money, you better find out who we are. And then the other thing, RNDC actually has what's called RNDCU and like RNDC University within their company so that people learn about their brands. And in order to qualify for your bonuses, you have to learn about Flow. And with that, we're starting to get people that are like, hey, would you be interested in doing this? Hey, we just got you in this area. Would you be, interested in doing this, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that is a great opportunity for us. And I think that has been the way of the past. Now that we have an opportunity, it is, as my father would say, kill a flea with a sledgehammer. Go all the way and knock the
Mm-hmm.
door down, knock the whole house down. But in order to build it up better with your new partners. So I will say I have noticed that distinction in everything that we're doing.
Well, you know
There's
what?
much more. Huh?
Oh no, what I was going to say is I'm going to call my rep now after I
Mm-hmm.
get off with you and say, what's the deal? Because I sound like a broken record for anybody who's listened to me. It is a challenge working with the distributors. When you ask specifically, I'm looking for Black wine labels, I'm looking for minority wine labels, or what have you, and they're just scratching their head that they don't know. So I'm glad to hear that they're packaging and they are educating their salespeople, because it hasn't always trickled down.
It hasn't. I mean, you're absolutely right. And again, unfortunately, we had to have something that led to a BLM, that led to people looking, right next door to them and saying, like, yo, look, what's going wrong? I'm looking next to me in this way, and I see diversity, but I don't see any color. Right. And I tell people all the time, when you have two white people in a room, you have diversity. That's not what we're talking about. So stop using that word. What we're talking about is the actual inclusion and access to.
Yeah.
So talk in real terms. You're not talking about defund. You're talking about, redefine. You know what I mean? Redefine how we get this thing done. And I think that we also have to be committed to our level of excellence, where they love me at RNDC and my wine production partner, because when they ask me for a video, I don't only give them a video. I give them a video with my music behind it. I give them an intake and an outtake. I give them subtitles. I give them, the titles in the thing, Marcus Johnson, founder, so and so, for information, catch us here. And honestly, I've turned into a film editor, a TV editor, right? A video editor, because I've had to. Why?
Right.
If we don't come to the table with our level of excellence, how the hell do you expect somebody else to look at you and be like, well, I'm just going to give you this, when I have, and let's be real, 3,100 other brands that are already making me money. So you want me to come in, take their stuff off the shelf, put your stuff on it. I'm listening, but tell me why. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna tell you why, because I can come in and do in-stores, I can come in and sell stuff, I can come in and sign. I'm bringing ad dollars that I'm already spending with my other components of my business into yours. I'm getting you additional feed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I'm doing that. So they're listening. We have to be committed to that as well. And even if it's like, okay, well, Marcus, I'm not a celebrity, so if I'm not a Black celebrity, does that mean I can't be in wine? I'm not saying that.
No.
I am saying that you need to have a dedicated, detailed marketing and strategic plan with how you're going to bring people into the store, so that when they take the 3, they'll give you the chance. But when they take those 3 facings or 6 facings and put your product in, how are you going to get it off the shelf, to get it back on the shelf, to get it off the shelf, and the cycle continues? And I think that we don't talk about that a lot. And even I do all these panels around the country, and I'm teaching. We don't teach that. We teach, well, we should have a space. Okay, what are you going to do with the space?
Yeah.
Let me tell you what to do with the space. I got you. So now you go to RNDC, and if that rep doesn't know about me, which I would hope that they would, call me. I'm not going to be upset. I'm going to say, here's who I am. Here's why I need you to know about me. Here's who Leslie is. Here's what Leslie can do for you. Let's have a meeting. Let's meet up. When I do my thing tomorrow in Loca Vino, Leslie, come through. Hey, Brian, why don't you come through so we can meet and you know who we are now? So you're not looking at a name and a number. You're looking at, that's Leslie and that's Marcus and that's Flo.
Right.
That is excellence.
I heard this saying today, and this person said, relationships is like banking. You have to make a deposit before you can make a withdrawal. So you have to invest in that relationship first before you can take away and get something. And so just like you said, like, you're coming to the table and say, hey, you should invest in me. And you're putting a deposit of what your worth is and what you're bringing to the table.
And it's business. And I get that we are behind. Man, some of the things that I've seen, some of the things that have been said to me, probably would make other people lose it. It can be disheartening. It can be disappointing. It can be heartbreaking. It can be angering. Okay, cool. put that on the side, and I still got to do business. I mean, hey, that sounds like a day of work for anybody else. It sounds like a regular day of work. What you gonna do? Get your work done to get that money. And if you're an entrepreneur, you can have all that disappointment, heartbreak, etc. You still got to get up out the bed, make sure your stuff is on the shelf, make sure your consumers know where it's on the shelf to get it off the shelf so that we can continue on and moving on. And I think that is part of the trauma that African Americans in general that we bring to everything that we do. And that's something that somebody else gave us. It is real. I am not belittling it, but it is a trauma that at certain points, if you do like Erykah Badu says, and pack light and just let go. Can you imagine? You get real light real quick. Like, wait a minute, I'm taking all this stuff off. I'm packing light, dressing light. I'm ready to go. I'll catch you later. That's how we need to be, man. And then that alone, we're already excellent. Why? Because we have to be. I mean, none of my friends had to go get a JD and an MBA and an undergraduate degree and be a fellow and then go speak and do TED Talks and do music and do wine and all this other stuff. Honestly, to tell you the truth, there are components of it for me where I felt like in order to be in control of my paradigm, I had to do that. And not only that, I had to be good. I had to get the grades at the business school and the law school. But you know what? I'm not going to look at that as weight. I'm going to look at that as thrust. The weight I'm carrying are engines that are going to propel me that much further and faster to where I'm going. So for me to know that, and that is some of the stuff I think mentally that we need to deal with, even in the wine industry, of like, we don't get the access. Okay, so what are we going to do about it? I think, again, a lot of times we want to talk. I'm down. Let's download. But let's set a time limit. In the next 90 minutes, we're going to stop talking about what has been done to us and how it hurt us. And we're going to acknowledge it. And then we're going to get a paid stamp from Staples, and we're going to stamp paid in full. You just did it. You gave it up in 90 minutes. You can carry it with you. Know that you are. Where are we going? And I think that's the key difference.
Well, I think that was enough said. There's no more to ask.
Hey, I
think
it's go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no. Go ahead and finish.
No. I was done. I'm done. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to thank you for your time and your insight. You know, when we have Wine Lovers Wednesdays, I always joke about, it's live, so you don't know which direction it could go. I might lose sound, but we're going to continue to keep on going on. And I appreciate your honesty and your candor and where you're going with the brand, and not just where you're going with the brand, but in general, like mentoring people and helping them through this journey. If people wanted to get in touch with you and had questions for you, Marcus, what's the best way for them to do that?
The best way is at Marcus Johnson 360 on social media. So IG at Marcus Johnson 360 or on Facebook at Marcus Johnson 360, and you'll get me. Let's say my social media is that place where I can kind of distinguish from the emails and the texts, because I get a lot of those. So if it pops up, it'll let me know. The only thing I ask is, man, ask what you want. And, the only thing I'm always, the people I coach, and I do a lot of coaching and mentoring, are you ready to do the work? Because I'm not a wizard. That is what I am not. I work hard, man. I'm tired, and I still got to go in here and do math facts after this and make sure my daughter knows her 7s and her 8s and what a nonfiction book is. Because her teacher stood me up today out of class, and like, I'm still feeling a certain way about that in front of all the parents, but I'm like, I don't care. I love my daughter, right? So what do we need to do? So how do we do this? What is your suggestion? Because I'm paying this money for private school. What is your suggestion for what we need to do? She's got it. She just needs to do A, B, C, E, F, G. And then I still got to go home and smile. So it's like, not a wizard, but what I am is I'm somebody that if you're willing to work hard, I can kind of guide you in the right way. and then just call me up like airplanes do, right? We're going on a journey. Be the airplane in front of me when you need to be, and be like, "Yo, shorty, you need to raise up to 30,000 feet because it's bumpy here." Right.
Right,
And then when I get
right.
ahead, I'm gonna be like, yo, you need to stay down there because it is bumpier up here. That's how we make it work.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. I agree. I'm enthusiastic about where we're going and the participation, and I hope we can continue the momentum and 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 continue to lift each other up. So I thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for what you're doing. And, whatever we can do to continue that, let us know. I'd also tell people to visit us at buyflowwine.com or marcusjohnson360.com, either one. And, see what we're doing. And if you like, also, if you like what I'm saying, check out my book or audio book. It's at Audible. It's Flow. Everything is Flow because it is for the love of you. And I just ask everybody that whatever it is, man, that makes you smile between the time when you close your eyes and you go to sleep at night, make sure tomorrow you start working towards that if you're not doing it already.
Right, right, right. Well, thank you everyone for Wine Lovers Wednesday. You said, Marcus, you still have tickets available for your Valentine's Day show?
Yes, the 9 o'clock show. The 7 o'clock is sold out, but it's at Keystone Corner in Baltimore. Which honestly, to tell you the truth, if you're anywhere outside of DC, you probably can get to Baltimore downtown faster than you can get to downtown DC and Park. It's just
Exactly.
that crazy traffic. Yeah, but if you go to marcusjohnson360.com events or slash events, it will take you to the site. You can see where to get a ticket and come through and hang with us for Valentine's Day.
So check it out. If you're still scratching your head trying to figure out what you're going to do, you got a great show and some music and some knowledge that's going to be dropped to you. And also, on another note, we have our Paint and Sip on the 18th. The 12th is the last day to order tickets, so please make sure you order tickets. And then lastly, we have our Drink Black challenge. So hit me up and let me know how many winemakers have you been able to sample and incorporate in your drink diet, I would say. And check out our sale on our page. So thank you guys so much for Wine Lovers Wednesday, and we will talk to you next week. Take care.